Hi, I'm Diana from Diana Marie Home, and I am back for our third garden tour. I cannot believe we are already on week 3, but here we are. There are a lot of changes in the garden in just a week, and I'm really excited to share them. So yeah, why don't we start in the greenhouse like we usually do. I'll show you what has changed in there. Okay, the first difference you can already see is I picked up a couple of wicker rocking chairs. I just actually picked those up this morning. I'll be moving them over to the patio area, but I just put them there for now. I washed them when I got home and they've just been outside drying a bit. I'm really excited. They match our original patio furniture pretty well, which was also from Facebook Marketplace, and I just noticed that when our friends were over the other weekend, we didn't really have enough seats for everyone, so this should be perfect, adding those. The flower boxes are doing really well. The design with the open bottom has been working out. And yeah, they've been filling in. I don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof. We're starting to get some rain here. We ended up getting a thunderstorm, so I had to wait it out. But we're back, the sun's shining. It is perfect for a garden tour. Everything just got a fresh rain, so we're gonna keep moving. The tour must go on. So inside we have more flowers over here. I went back to the local greenhouse to get more flowers. They were having a sale to fill some pots out on the patio area. And then in here during the thunderstorm, well, before it started thundering, I was out here during the rain. I was harvesting some seeds from my salvia plant, so I'll actually show you that plant. It's over here. I got some more. This is what they look like. Before I planted the ones out in the flower box, the chickens got to them and knocked one of the flowers off, and so I kept it, dried it out, and saved it for seeds. You're going to get the best germination if you let seeds dry on the plant instead of picking them off, but since it was already taken off, I decided to go ahead and save some of the seeds, and so this dried out, and then I could pull these little pods off of it, and when you squish them, you kind of just go like this. These little tiny seeds come out, and yeah, that's how you save seeds for salvia. And then I put them in an envelope and labeled it. Be sure to label your seeds so you know what you have. Also in here I have my olive tree. I found this at the grocery store. I'm really excited about it. So I have it in the greenhouse and it seems to be pretty happy out here. Alright, I'm going to take this. It's a jar of Epsom salt. I started using this on my tomatoes and I'm going to put it on my peppers this week too, but they really seem to like it. So I'll show you how I do that out here in the garden. Here's my herb garden. It's doing okay. I planted some more cilantro over here last week that I shared. It's still not coming up, so I think it might be too hot to germinate, but everything else is looking okay out here. I'm excited for this garden to really fill in. And then the lettuce garden is doing good in this corner. The romaine and spinach did not really end up germinating, so in this area right here I just put radish in the other day. And then the little baby cress is doing really good too. Flower garden's doing really good. A lot of baby flowers came up since last week. I planted this garden pretty late at night, and when I'm out here late at night it seems like a good idea to just kind of put things in random spots and I forget what I planted, so it's a mystery what will come up here. The bean garden is also doing really well, and we're actually starting to get some flowers on some of the bean plants. This one's really flowering. So I have green, these are all the bush beans. There's green beans, purple beans, and then I recently planted some dragon tongue beans from Baker Creek Farm. This pepper garden is doing exceptionally well. I pinched a lot of these peppers, which I talked about in my second garden tour, but it basically just means that I pinched the top off to promote the side growth. And look at those branches coming out. So I'm gonna get a lot more peppers on the plants that I pinched. But look at how healthy these leaves look. The peppers in this bed are doing really, really well. And then these are the radishes that I have over here. And we're starting to see the top, I think this is called crowning. This is my first time growing radishes. How cool is that? So these should be ready soon. I'll probably have to pull one up to know, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. So for the Epsom salt, this is my first time using it on the peppers. I think I might have put some on again. It was late at night and I can't really remember. Maybe that's why these peppers are doing so well. What I did with the tomatoes is I just sprinkled it right around the stem, like I'm doing here. You can dissolve this in water. I think it's a teaspoon of salt to a gallon of water. I just sprinkle it around the stem like this, and then when I water the garden at night, all of that salt goes into the root system. The benefit of dissolving it into water and then watering your plants is the leaves are able to soak up the nutrients. So I might try that as well because I just bought a sprayer the other day when I was out. The zucchini in the corner of this bed are actually growing flowers, which I'm so excited about. And on this one, you can actually see a little baby zucchini growing. So what I've recently learned are that the flowers that have the zucchini attached are the female flowers, and then the flowers that do not have a fruit attached, like this one here, is a male flower. And to get big healthy fruit on your squash plants, the male flower has to pollinate the female flower, and the bees usually do that for you. But if you're having a hard time getting your squash plants to grow well, you can try to hand pollinate. And once the fruit flowers start opening up, I'll include in one of my garden tours how I do that, because I'm gonna give it a try. It can't hurt. But it's really exciting that these are starting to flower. Also, the male flowers on these plants are completely edible. They're really good breaded and fried. The peppers in this bed are not doing as well compared to the bed over there that we just saw. I'm not sure if it's the lighting they get, the nutrients. I didn't pinch a lot of the ones over here, but I'm just not sure really the difference. The potatoes are growing like crazy. I went back and watched week 2 of the garden tour and they were so much smaller than this. So I'm really excited. This is my first time growing potatoes. I'm excited to see what happens with these, but I can't believe how much they've grown. Same thing with the corn. It's growing like crazy. And I think we're about knee-high at this point, which is awesome because it's not 4th of July yet, but it's coming up. So the corn's looking really good. And we have some sunflowers. And I believe this is my okra. I've never grown okra before, but I have it in the garden in a couple spots. And then the tomato bed. So tomatoes are doing pretty good as well. Again, what I do with the Epsom salt is just sprinkle it. I do this once a week. I started last week. So this is the second time. And I just sprinkle it right around the stem and then water it in. I've also been sure to check for little suckers that I talked about in this week 2 garden tour and pinching those off. Here's a tiny baby one. They grow so fast. I check for these every day. Just pinch that off. And this tomato plant is actually getting a flower. I let that one go to flower. I have been pinching them off just to help them really establish their roots, but I think I'm going to start letting them flower. We have pole beans on the edges of this bed here and onions in the middle. some more pole beans over here. And then over here we have cucumbers and more tomato plants. And I recently planted carrot seeds in the middle. Now, our hose broke and we had to water it without a nozzle, a spray nozzle. So I'm not too sure how these carrots are going to do because carrot seeds are so little and delicate. I'm a little worried about how they're going to do, but we'll see what happens. And then we have the squash. What do you think, Lola? Lola helps me garden every day and she helps me keep the chickens away. The squash are doing really well back here, but I have a problem with squash bugs, which I never knew what they were before, but I noticed the other night when I was out here that there were these bugs that looked like stink bugs on my plants, on my squash plants. So I went and looked them up, and they are squash bugs. I took a picture. I'm gonna share it on the screen here when I go to edit the video of what my squash bugs looked like and the eggs that I found under my squash leaves. So not a great problem to have, but I'm trying to do my best to have an organic garden. It is not fully organic, but I'm taking measures to try to keep it as organic as I can. So what I'm doing right now to treat my squash bug problem is every day I'm coming out here, I'm looking for the beetles, and when I find them, I take them off and either feed them to the chickens or squish them, which I feel bad doing, but they're eating my plants. And then check under each leaf for eggs, which in the picture I posted, you'll see what the eggs look like. So I do that every day instead of using a pesticide. So these are the edible squashes over here. Well, all squash is edible, but then on this side are my pumpkins that I started from seed. After doing this, I learned that pumpkins do better directly sown, but I transplanted these. They're doing really well. I mean, look at that leaf. This is awesome. This actually, I had to cut a little piece out of it because there were some of those squash bug eggs under it, but it's still doing really well. You can also, so if you find a leaf that doesn't look so good, like this leaf isn't looking super healthy, don't be afraid to just pinch those right off your plant. This one doesn't have bugs or anything on it, so it's okay to throw. The ones that have eggs, you're going to want to either burn or, you know, wrap up tight and throw away. You don't want those getting on your plants. While I'm out here, I'm just going to plant a few more seeds of cilantro and a few other things, and I'm showing you one to just show you how to plant these seeds, but also because I want to remember when I planted these so I can keep better track. So these are cilantro seeds that I saved. I know these work because I planted some inside. They just did not transplant well. And what I do with cilantro is I try to crush it in my fingers when I plant it to open it up, make it easier for the seed to sprout. And so I usually do this in the area that I want to plant it. You can see they're opening up as I do that. And I'm going to sow these pretty heavily since I'm having such a hard time getting these to germinate. And I want this whole area to be cilantro. It smells really good. The general rule of thumb is to plant seeds as deep as the seed is, so this really doesn't have to be too far under the dirt. Some seeds do require light to germinate, and those are, from my experience, they tend to be the smaller seeds. So then what I do is I'll find some dirt and I'll just break it up and cover the seeds. Now I just planted way more than you would typically need for cilantro, but since I'm having a hard time getting them to germinate, I just planted a bunch and I can go in and thin them if they all happen to work, but I'm thinking it might be a little too warm for them right now. Alright, so I have the dirt sprinkled over it, and I'll just go in and water these in later on. This is the other plant that I want to put in. I just got this in from Baker Creek Seeds. I'm really excited about this. You can use chamomile to make your own tea, and when I found that out, I was looking for some chamomile seeds. I think we have some wild chamomile growing, but I wanted some that I knew definitely was chamomile growing in our garden. So I'm gonna put some of these seeds in. So on the back of the package, it does say that chamomile is a seed that requires light to germinate. So these I'm just gonna put very lightly on the surface of the soil, and I might not even put any dirt on them and just water them very, very gently. These seeds are so tiny. So these I'm just gonna sprinkle right on top of the dirt and we'll see what happens. I think I'll put some right here. Just sprinkle a few. And maybe some right here. This is why I forget what I plant and where, because this is what I do. And we'll do some more over here in this empty spot. I still have a bunch more seeds in my hand, so again, this is why I never know what I plant where. I just use them up throughout the garden. So we're over in our lettuce garden right now. I'm just gonna put this in where the cress did not germinate.
What do you got going on? Everything seems to be thriving.
Yeah, we're doing our week 2 of the garden tour. Week 3. We're on week 3. Nope. It's off.
Does Lola go through it too?
Yeah, Lola's gone through and it doesn't seem to bother her too much, but it has been keeping the chickens out pretty well. So, what do you think of the garden?
It's looking good.
Yeah.
Can't believe how good it's looking with the little amount of rain we had.
Yeah, we have not had any rain, so this rainstorm that happened when I planned on filming the garden tour was pretty ironic. But
yeah, it didn't last long.
It did not. Yeah. Be able to get out here and film week 3 and keep watering the garden every day.
Is that all corn?
Yep. I think we're gonna hit the knee-high by 4th of July.
One of them here.
Yeah, I think that one's already there. Pretty cool. This side is shorter because I grew a different variety and the seeds didn't work. So then I went back in once I realized they didn't work and planted with the one that did. So we have some succession planting there, unintentional.
Good.
Yeah. I showed them your garlic in week 2.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, before all the scapes were picked.
Doesn't look much different, unfortunately. A lot of work and not a lot to show for it.
A few more weeks and we'll have... How much garlic?
It's going to be around 10,000 pounds.
That's a lot. How many heads do you think that will be?
It's going to be roughly 30,000.
Oh my gosh.
30,000 heads.
And then every single head we have to... It's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of cloves.
A lot of cloves.
Hopefully somebody buys some.
If you're looking for some bulk garlic, let us know. All right, the last seed I want to plant is some more of these Baker Creek Dragon Tongue. And I went in last week and filled in the empty spots. But I think I have some more empty spots, and I really want to show you what these seeds look like. So these are the Dragon Tongue seeds. I think they're so pretty. I knew the pods kind of looked like this. The pods are, I think, yellowish with purple streaks. But I didn't realize the seeds were going to be this pretty. So for beans, I just stick my finger in there, put the seed in, and grab some soil and sprinkle it over it. Thank you so much for joining me on my 3rd garden tour this growing season. I'm so excited to be able to share my garden with you in this way. Be sure to check back next week for 1 month of our garden, and that's crazy. That's so crazy that it's already been growing for a month and the changes we see. But yeah, don't forget to hit subscribe to be notified when I post new videos. I'll be sharing more about our garden, but also of our 1800s farmhouse and how we are working to restore it on a budget. You can also follow along for daily updates on Instagram. My Instagram name is Diana Marie Home, and then I also have a blog at www.dianamariehome.com, and I'll link that here, but you can also follow along there and get more updates and tutorials and a lot more. So thank you again, and I'll see you soon.